Hello, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase, and I'm here with a very important message. We are at a turning point in the Black community where we must have equity in the apps we use that scale to billions of dollars. But this time, we own the infrastructure, we own the culture, and we shape the future. And Fanbase is the future. Fanbase combines the free functionality of Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube into an all-in-one platform built for the evolution of social media and monetization. With over 1.4 million users, that's real proof that we are shifting the conversation of tech ownership and equity for creators. So right now, I want you to go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest today. The minimum to invest is $399. That gets you 60 shares of stock in Fanbase at $665 a share. This marks a turning point in Black ownership of social media. If we don't take this opportunity to own social media right now, we will always be customers to our own creations. And that can't go on. So once again, go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest today. We must own the platforms where our voices live, our stories matter, and where our culture drives the world. Thank you.
Folks, Black Star Network is here.
Hold no punches.
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, this difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?
Good evening, everyone. Let me first welcome House Republicans back to the Congress after their 7-week taxpayer-funded vacation. These people have been missing in action, absent without official leave, running scared, but they can no longer hide. The Rules Committee is going to meet shortly, and then tomorrow there will be votes on the House floor. And Democrats will continue to press the case, to say to our Republican colleagues, you have another opportunity to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits and make sure that tens of millions of Americans all across the country in communities that Republicans represent, along with us as Democrats, tens of millions of Americans, rural America, working class America, urban America, small town America, the heartland of America, and in black and brown communities all across America, people at risk of experiencing dramatically increased premiums, copays, and deductibles because of the Republican refusal to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits. Before the Rules Committee this evening, House Democrats, led by myself and Whip Catherine Clark, will give the Republicans another opportunity to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits by introducing an amendment that will extend these tax credits for a 3-year period of time. Same period of time that these tax credits were extended back in 2022. Republicans have created a health care crisis all across America. Largest cut to Medicaid in American history. Hospitals, nursing homes, and community-based health centers closing all throughout the country because of what Republicans did in their one big ugly bill. Medicare still at risk of the largest cut it may confront in American history unless Congress acts by the end of this year. And of course, because of the Republican refusal to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits in the midst of a cost of living crisis that already exists, that they failed to address, health care for people all across this country is on the brink of becoming unaffordable. Working class Americans, everyday Americans, middle class Americans, unable to afford to go see a doctor. This is in America, the wealthiest country in the history of the world. And so once again, House Republicans, welcome back from your taxpayer-funded 7-week vacation. You now have an opportunity to actually take some action in an area of this health care crisis by working with Democrats before the Rules Committee this evening to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits. It's now my honor to introduce Whip Catherine Clark.
Thank you so much, Mr. Leader. And we are indeed looking forward to the return of the missing House GOP. 54 days. I know the dust has settled on their desks. I hope they can find their voting cards. And I hope, as Speaker Johnson said, when they were home on their vacation, doing the most, quote, meaningful work of their careers, that included talking to their neighbors, talking to their constituents, because I can tell you what we are hearing from people across this country. It is fear, it is anxiety. The thought that they may lose their ACA insurance, the thought that they may lose their Medicaid or Medicare, because of the agenda of the House GOP. Take away health care and give permanent tax cuts to the very, very wealthiest in this country. I hope that Mike Johnson talked to Morgan in Ruston, Louisiana. Morgan's son needs an inhaler that is paid for through her health insurance, and he needs frequent trips to the doctor to be able to survive and have a childhood he deserves. Morgan is so fearful that if she loses that coverage that her son depends on, there are no backup plans. There's no plan B. And so we are saying, listen to the American people and what they are telling you. I hope that you listened to them when you were home, avoiding coming to do your jobs here in the Capitol. And I hope, as the leader has said, you will take this opportunity tonight. We can't undo all the damage they've done, but extend the ACA tax credits for 3 years. Give small business owners, farmers across this country, moms and dads who depend on the ACA in order to get their coverage. Tell them they don't have to have sleepless nights worrying that their cancer treatment for their spouse might not be able to continue. They may not be able to manage their own diabetes, and they may not be able to find health care when they have a sick child. These are the very real cries of Americans. House Democrats are going to remain in this fight, and I hope that on their 54 days, they heard the American people loudly and clearly and will come back to their senses and do what's right and protect health care in this country. And now it is my great pleasure to introduce our ranking member and fellow Bay Stater on the Rules Committee, Jim McGovern.
Thank you. So 8 weeks ago, Speaker Mike Johnson sent the House of Representatives home. He basically abolished the House of Representatives. And he did so because he cares more about giving tax breaks to billionaires than he cares about extending tax relief to working families so they can afford their health care. I took the train down here today because I wanted to make sure I got here for the Rules Committee meeting. I got an earful from a lot of people. People are pissed. People don't understand why this is so difficult. That in a Congress that, again, passes these huge benefits for corporations and for the well-off and the well-connected, can't find it within their politics to be able to pass relief to middle-class families who are going to not be able to afford their health insurance. I mean, this is not a talking point. This is real life. I've had constituents come up to me and tell me that they don't know what they're going to do. I mean, they can't afford the skyrocketing costs of their health insurance. This is a life or death issue for people. I have people coming up to me and saying they're going to go without health care for a year or two. They just roll the dice and maybe everything will work out okay. Health care ought to be a fundamental human right for everybody in this country. That this is so difficult tells you everything you need to know about the character of the people who are running this House of Representatives right now and the man in the White House. This is disgusting. This is immoral. We're going to go to the Rules Committee, and we're going to take the fight directly to the Republicans up in the Rules Committee. But this should be a no-brainer. This should be a no-brainer. And yet it is becoming this enormous mountain to try to climb in order just to get some help so that people don't lose their health insurance. What the hell is wrong with these people? Again, I mean, I wish Donald Trump could have been on the train with me today and heard some of the stories that I heard. But I don't think he ever has been on a train. I don't know. He lives in a bubble. But I wish some of my Republican colleagues were on that train. How can you not extend these tax benefits for people who are in such desperate need? Look, we're going to continue to try. The beautiful thing about politics is you never lose until you give up trying. And we're not going to give up, and we're going to fight like hell until this gets done. And with that, I'm happy to yield to one of my wonderful members of the Rules Committee, Congresswoman Mary Gay Scanlon of Pennsylvania.
Thank you. So we've had this fight going all year, and I've been trying to figure out a way to break it down. But basically, there were two big tax issues that were coming due at the end of this year. One was the tax cuts for billionaires, and the other was the tax credits for folks who get the Affordable Care Act. In July, Speaker Johnson called us back, dragged us back here 4th of July weekend, so they could ram through the tax cuts for billionaires. But when it came time to extend the tax credits for everyday Americans, they went on vacation. They went on vacation early. They said, oh, we don't have to really deal with that. They were unwilling to negotiate with Democrats, and they just left town. So like my colleagues here, I've been hearing from my constituents throughout this period of time when we have not been here in D.C., which we have regularly been in D.C. trying to do the work. But just this morning, I was at the largest Veterans Day parade in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania in media, and I had veterans coming up to me saying, keep fighting. This is killing us. This health insurance issue, my daughter can't get her insurance. She's concerned about her family. I hear from the folks I walk dogs with in the morning that they're thinking about going without coverage because they've got a small business and they can't afford the increases that they're seeing. Hearing from a veteran whose Social Security just barely covers her rent, and she doesn't know what she's going to do for health insurance for her family. It's hitting Americans, and they're not stupid. They know who's fighting for them, and we're going to keep fighting for them. So thank you for paying attention, and this is not over. With that, I would like to yield to my classmate and colleague from the Rules Committee, Joe Neguse from Colorado.
Well, I think my colleagues articulated well, and of course Leader Jeffries articulated well, the stakes for millions of Americans whose premiums are skyrocketing, including the many constituents that I represent in Colorado. But I do just want to underscore a point that Chairman McGovern made. And in particular, I say this, for the press that are gathered here. Many of you whom have covered the developments in this Capitol for a long time, who were here when Speaker McCarthy was Speaker, when Speaker Pelosi was Speaker, when Speaker Ryan was presiding. This is one of the most shameful episodes, in my view, in the modern history of the Congress. The decision that Speaker Johnson made to recess the House for 54 days, to send Republican members home on paid vacation for 8 weeks, is disgraceful. It is a debasement of our Constitution. It is unprecedented. And every Republican member, as they arrive this evening and tomorrow morning, ought to be asked the question, why they endorsed this abdication of Congress's power for the last 8 weeks, why they supported the Speaker's decision to send the Congress on vacation for 8 weeks as premiums are skyrocketing for millions of Americans. There's a reason, as the leader has articulated previously, that Steve Bannon has compared the Congress to the Duma. It's because that is the way in which Speaker Johnson and House Republicans are functioning. And it is time for accountability. As the Speaker, or excuse me, as the leader and as the whip referenced, Republicans have an opportunity now that they finally ended their 54-day vacation to do the right thing. We're going to give them that opportunity in the Rules Committee, which is the first committee hearing in the House that will have been held since September. Shameful. And I know my colleagues on the Rules Committee feel the same way, including my colleague from the West, my neighbor in New Mexico, Representative Ledger Fernandez.
Buenas noches. It has indeed been a while. But tonight at the Rules Committee, as you've heard, we are going to give the Republicans their last chance to show America whether they're going to stand up for the working families and the small businesses in America who need those tax credits, or whether they're going to let them die because they don't get health care, because they have to drop their health insurance because it's too expensive. Madam Rep. Clark, the issue of that inhaler, one of the stories that was told to me was a friend of mine said, I want you to take this story back. My brother lost his health insurance. That inhaler would cost $10 or $20 with his insurance. He'd have to go to the emergency room to get a $10 inhaler because without insurance, it costs $400. He died gasping for breath because he couldn't afford an inhaler. People will die with this decision that Republicans seem to want to make. And they moved heaven and earth to pass those tax credits for the billionaires before July 4th, but can't get around to passing the tax credits for working families before they expire in December. So we're going to be bringing these amendments and asking them to vote, asking them to go on the record on the extension of the health credits, on regards to what's happening in rural America, a district I represent. And what about those SNAP benefits where states have stepped up, like New Mexico, to make sure that our people don't go hungry? And finally, addressing the fact that the senators are giving themselves a $500,000 to $1 million or more payment. I call it the January 6th cash out payment. They can't make health care affordable for a father and his children, but they're willing to pay themselves millions of dollars. And it is true. We only lose this fight if we give up the fight. And Democrats have been fighting Republicans in a long struggle to provide health care to Americans. We have been fighting Republicans when we created Medicare, when we created Medicaid, when we created the Affordable Care Act. And we're going to not give up that fight because we want all Americans to be able to have health care, including Marjorie Taylor Greene's kids. Right? We want everybody everywhere to have health care. And with that, we're ready to go up to the Rules Committee, but I'll pass it back to our wonderful leader.
I thank the distinguished members of the Rules Committee, as well as my good friend Catherine Clark, for their comments, for their leadership. Democrats have been engaged in this struggle on behalf of the health care of the American people for a long time. FDR engaged in this struggle. Johnson engaged in this struggle. Truman engaged in this struggle. Bill Clinton engaged in this struggle. Barack Obama engaged in this struggle. House Democrats are here to continue to engage in this struggle to decisively address the Republican health care crisis, standing on the shoulders of Democrats who for decades have been fighting to deliver affordable, high-quality health care for the American people. Questions?
Yeah, thank you. So a provision was added into the legislation with regard to potential, which I think you're referring to, that senators could essentially sue the U.S. government for up to $500,000 if they can prove that their data was used in investigations. What do you say to that, and is there any chance that that will be removed from the CR?
House Democrats are going to offer an amendment before the Rules Committee to get that self-dealing sick provision out of the spending agreement. The notion that 8 Republican senators signed off by John Thune and the Republicans, apparently in the Senate and in the House, would give themselves the ability, essentially, to rip millions of taxpayer dollars away from the American people so they could line their pockets because these people were insurrectionist sympathizers is insanity. And we're going to tattoo that provision, just like we're going to tattoo the Republican health care crisis on the foreheads of every single House Republican who dares vote for this bill. Manu?
There have been numbers of members of your own caucus who have called on Senator Schumer to be replaced as Democratic leader. Are you okay with those calls coming from within your own caucus?
As I've indicated, we're focused right now on pressing the case in addressing the Republican health care crisis. We'll be before the Rules Committee in moments. We'll have a family conversation as House Democrats. We're strongly opposed as House Democrats to this reckless Republican effort to continue to raise the high cost of living on everyday Americans, which is exactly what they're doing by failing to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credit. Nicole?
Mr. Leader, even though you said that Democrats are opposed, you would expect any Democrats to defect tomorrow like they did in the Senate?
I will have that conversation during our caucus meeting at noon, but our strong expectation is that Democrats will be strongly opposed. Many have issued statements. The New Dem coalition came out today. That's the largest caucus within the House Democratic Caucus, opposed to this Republican spending bill because it fails to address the health care crisis that Republicans have created.
Thank you. Mr. McDonald mentioned he wrote the train to make it back in town. Obviously, all of your members are trying to get back. Do you anticipate all Democrats will be here tomorrow in order to oppose this bill and put pressure on Speaker Johnson to rally all of his members to support the legislation?
Yes.
Congresswoman, Congresswoman-elect Alita Grijalva is scheduled to be sworn in tomorrow, and then you expect, she has said she will sign the discharge petition, the CANA Massey discharge petition. Can you tell us when you would expect that vote to actually happen? Just explain to people, we've kind of been waiting for this for so long. Explain when you would expect that Epstein vote.
Yeah, let me defer to Whip Clark and once and future Chairman Jim McGovern on that issue.
Thank you. It is long overdue that the Congresswoman-elect take her place, her rightful place, and be sworn in. So we are being told by the Republicans that that will happen now. They anticipate at 4 o'clock tomorrow before we begin debate on the rule. And it is just another one of those breathtaking split screens that as they are home and we are watching this suffering going on, that they have also decided to put off swearing in Congresswoman-elect Grijalva because they don't want her to sign a discharge petition that would force a vote on the Epstein files. So they don't want to give Americans health care, and they don't want to find justice for the survivors and victims of Jeffrey Epstein. It is an amazingly arrogant and dangerous statement that they are making to the American people about their own security.
And it should if she signs it tomorrow, it should ripen in early December, so we can expect a vote. I mean, that doesn't mean that the Speaker of the House might try to do some, shenanigans with the discharge petition, but if all goes the way we want it to go, early December.
It's unbelievable that 7+ weeks, Representative-elect Alita Grijalva was elected in late September decisively, has been denied the ability to serve more than 800,000 people in Arizona. And why is that the case? It's because Republicans are running a pedophile protection program. They are intentionally hiding the Jeffrey Epstein files. But those days are over, because as soon as Representative-elect Alita Grijalva becomes Congresswoman Grijalva, her first act, as she's indicated, is going to be to sign that discharge petition. It's going to force a vote on the House floor, and the American people are going to get the transparency that they deserve.
Jeffries, you've not taken off the table a discharge petition on the ACA subsidies. So have you had any outreach yet to Republicans on that, or is it too soon for something like that?
We haven't had any conversations with Republicans. We're going to be before the Rules Committee shortly. We're going to introduce an amendment that gives them an opportunity to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits, and we're going to continue to make the point to our Republican colleagues. Our position is simple: cancel the cuts, lower the costs, save health care. Thank you, everyone.
Folks, that was the House Democratic leadership speaking moments before the House Rules Committee will meet tonight. Okay, they're only meeting tonight beginning at 6:30 p.m. And the whole goal, of course, is to begin to consider the package, the continuing resolution passed by the Senate to reopen the government. This meeting is the first critical step before the GOP leadership can schedule a floor vote that will take place on Wednesday. Once the committee approves the debate rules, the full House must vote to adopt them before moving forward with the final passage of this legislation. This development follows the Senate's approval of the bill on Monday night, where 8 moderate Democrats joined Republicans, potentially bringing an end to the longest government shutdown in American history. The agreement promises to restore essential services, including federal food aid, and pay for hundreds of thousands of federal workers. But it also will call for a vote in the Senate with regards to extending the Affordable Care Act subsidies. Now, here's the problem. Republicans have already ended those subsidies when they passed that big, ugly bill. So this promise of a vote next month before the actual price hikes or subsidies go away, which will lead to massive hikes in insurance for lots of folks. My panel, Dr. Mustafa Santiago Ali, former senior advisor for environmental justice at the EPA, Killa Bethea, communication strategist, Cameron Trimble, CEO, Hip Politics Media, and former White House senior advisor. Glad to have all three of you here. The bottom line is this here, Mustafa. The votes are not there for Democrats in the House. Republicans control that. They'll have the votes to actually to pass whatever they want to pass. And again, you have a continuing resolution. The government will reopen. So, okay, this deal that Democrats cut, they're going to vote in December to extend the subsidies. Are these Democrats somehow thinking that Republicans are going to get skittish and then they're going to cave and vote for this? They voted against the subsidies a couple of months ago. I don't see them doing anything differently this time.
Yeah, there's no reason for Republicans to do anything different. You know, Democrats had the opportunity to hold the line, to continue to push, to make sure that they got something out of the deal that actually would help folks. You know, folks are still wondering, you know, is it insulin or groceries? Is it lights? Or is it, other types of things that need to be paid? And Democrats had the opportunity to help folks to be able to answer that question by making sure that folks, their healthcare coverage wouldn't double or triple. And it's going to be happening in lots of places. Georgia, Louisiana, Mississippi, Oregon, South Carolina, Texas, and I believe Tennessee are the top 8 places. And then West Virginia, of course, that, we know are going to be hit the hardest. So one, it is still a matter of making sure that people understand who's going to get hit first. But then we also understand, as always, there's still a racial injustice aspect to this and an economic injustice aspect. So I don't understand why Democrats also, Roland, didn't bring forward the fact that it's estimated that about 340,000 jobs will also be lost if they don't, move forward on making sure that people have this health care, because rural clinics and others will unfortunately have to lose people. So Democrats had the opportunity. They made the choice that they did. I guess their plan is that they are going to, try and make sure that folks understand that Republicans are actually the one that's taking away, your health care coverage. But I don't know if that's enough for what they gave up. But I guess time will tell.
So, Kelly, use 8 moderate Democrats. Okay, fine. The Republicans promised them a vote. They are still catching lots of hell from lots of folks. But the problem is, it's not like any of them are up for re-election in 2026. So they're making a calculated guess that, all right, you know what? Hey, this is the best deal we can get. Well, they're gonna have to answer to a lot of people if this vote goes the way we expected next month, and those subsidies go away and premiums jack up all across America.
Absolutely. And I can't express how angry I am at those 8, because it is clear that this was a safe move for them, right? It almost feels as though they didn't care one way or the other. And I get what Fetterman was talking about. Like, you can't govern in a hostage situation. I understand that. But at the same time, you Democrats weren't the ones holding the government hostage. It was the Republicans holding the government hostage. They were holding people as ransom. This was not an exchange. This was not anything positive. This was a shakedown on top of a shutdown. This was extortion. And the fact that 8 Democrats who people voted for, who people trusted, don't understand that, it is infuriating, because we just spent 42 days being virtually penniless, 42 days of missed paychecks, 42 days of grounded flights, 42 days of hungry families, 42 days of hungry veterans, right? Today is Veterans Day, and you're making them line up for free groceries because your party shut down their paychecks, right? Like, where's the justice in that? The shutdown hit people who hold America together: federal workers, service members, single parents, Black and brown people. And for what? For you to do business as usual in the hopes that business will return to a time where Republicans were actually reasonable? This is absurd. And it hurts. It feels like a betrayal. Because just last Tuesday, we proved that not only can we hold the line, we can actually turn the tide. And 8 people just said, meh, I don't want it. Against what their constituents want, against what their colleagues want, against what this party wants, you just said, screw it. And for what? And we have to deal with you for another 5-6 years because you guys can't be primaried come 26. Like, it is infuriating.
So, Cameron, what do you see what's next? There are some who say, you know what, guess what? The base, they'll forget this. This is not going to have any impact on the 2026 midterm elections. Your assessment?
I think this is the base and all parts of the Democratic Party, they do feel the anger, and they do feel like, what did we just spend the last 40 plus days doing in standing up for if they were to cave? But I expect this to cause a extreme reckoning within the Democratic Party. The fact that it was isolated to these 8 Democrats and Angus King, who's an independent, mostly Northeast states, but you also had New Mexico and other people, Nevada represented, but they're not up on the election next year. I expect every Democrat who's up for election, there's a reason why Ossoff didn't put his name behind this. There's a reason why Schumer and others didn't put their names behind this. I expect every Democrat who is up for re-election in the Senate and the entire House who's going to vote against this to find significant distance between themselves. And then this sets up a do-or-die vote on health care, point blank and period. And I think that is the calculation now that we are here. We wanted to hold the line, but now that the line has no longer been held, there is a do-or-die vote that Speaker Johnson first needs to bring up in the House. And then if he doesn't, that is something that I hope Democrats are able to message properly, message simply, and message widely and ferociously the entire year, that these are the people who want to keep your healthcare prices going. They're going to need to bring families of all races, hues from every part of the country. Every individual should be looking right now to families of 4, single families, business owners, people who are all going to have their businesses, their homes wrecked, their budgets wrecked, people who may not be able to get the kind of health care they need, people who may be pushed into poverty, businesses who may have to close because of the I would say the gripping costs of healthcare and the rise of healthcare, and they must message on that for 360 plus or however many days until the next election to make this around a single issue around healthcare. So I do expect that there will be significant distance placed between the House Dems and also this might be a chance, honestly, to pick up some seats and to try to hang this around the neck of every Republican, whether it be in the Senate, House, hell, even down ballot. The fact that they supported folks not being able to have health care, they supported more people dying, they supported more people not being able to get their the necessary drugs or medications they need. They supported the closing of rural and urban hospitals and all the jobs lost. They need to be very crystal clear on hanging this around the neck of those of everybody who's on the ballot next year.
Here's the question, and many people have been calling for this, and Mustafa, I'll start with you. Is it time for Democrats to replace Chuck Schumer? He couldn't keep his caucus. He couldn't hold his caucus. Some believe that privately he sort of gave them the nod saying, I'll vote against it, but you guys go ahead and vote for it. Is it time for Democrats to have new leadership in the United States Senate?
Let me answer that this way. You know, you have two responsibilities in that position. One, to be able to count the votes. The second part is to be able to hold your caucus together. And he has not been successful at being able to do that. I understand that it's a very challenging moment, challenging situations, but you should have enough cachet to be able to have those conversations with your folks to say, this is not the moment to do this. This is how we are going to move forward together as a whole caucus. And, you know, that's the responsibility of a leader. So, you know, many of us feel that new leadership would help to revitalize and help to bring energy back and hopefully also bring some focus back. So I guess we'll see what happens after this.
Kelly, is it time for Chuck Schumer to go?
It's absolutely time for him to go. And we can thank him for his service on his way out. Because at the end of the day, 8 Senate Democrats crossed the line that we were holding, right? They crossed the line and they handed Republicans a victory that they didn't deserve, they didn't earn. They didn't end the shutdown by doing this. They endorsed extortion by doing this. And when Democrats vote for bills that gut health care / worker protection, you know, shielding GOP senators from accountability, that doesn't make you a moderate. It doesn't make you a blue dog Democrat. It makes you a co-conspirator. It makes you a collaborator. And Chuck Schumer knows that. And Chuck Schumer didn't do anything to stop it, whether it was because he didn't have the power to stop it or whether he did have the power to stop it and he was like, oh, well, it's only 8. Like, that rationale alone is enough for me to say, your time has come, sir. We need new blood. And frankly, last Tuesday proved that. Outside of all of this rigmarole, last Tuesday proved that not only do we need new blood, we are voting for new blood and we want them in those seats.
Cameron, stay, go. Schumer.
I'll say this about Schumer. I think the other thing, to Mustafa's point, the other thing that the head of the Senate and the House, whether it's the minority leader or you're the Speaker of the House, is also significantly around fundraising. And Schumer has proven to be a fundraising force. Unfortunately, money is throughout our politics, and there are many members who struggle to raise the money that is needed to compete in today's political landscape. And he has the ears of the donors in New York and around the country. So he still does that, but even that I don't think is as effective as it once was. I think the people will decide if it's time for him to go. I'm not a New York resident. I don't know how well he represents New York or not, or the current New York.
Yeah, but Cameron, him being a United States Senator, that's the people voting. The Democratic caucus chooses their leader. So the question is it time for the Democratic caucus to choose somebody else to be their leader, to be the Democratic leader in the United States Senate?
I'll say this. I because of how I look at the Democratic Party as a whole and what I think I have the faith in the party to be able to handle or not handle. If it happens, it has to happen organically. While I may disagree, I definitely disagree with how Schumer held this and he wasn't able to hold the line. I'm also not confident that coming for Chuck Schumer, it won't embroil the Democrats in an infight that'll have them mess around and lose their opportunity to win back the Senate and win back the House. I think if it happens and then there's all the rumblings that Congresswoman AOC is asked to primary Chuck Schumer, is asked to come for her. You've seen she's been bringing out tens of thousands of people all around the country. All her followers online, all the energy. She's easily one of the most recognizable members of Congress. And so she has a lot of energy around her. I think she still would have an uphill battle primarying and going after Schumer's seat. But I think if it happens organically, because if they will, Cameron, you gotta make a decision. Cameron, you're saying if it happens organically, okay, if AOC runs, bruh, that ain't got nothing to do with none of this. It's either
Should the Democratic caucus Cameron, I'm going to ask you right now. Here we are in late 2025. Should the Democratic caucus replace Chuck Schumer as their minority leader right now through next year? Yes or no?
No.
Got it.
And that's it. Yeah. No.
Oh.
And I think it's, like I said, it's
okay.
I don't think they could handle it.
I got it. All right, cool. All right.
I don't think we can handle it.
I got it. All right.
I don't
Good
think
point.
we can handle him.
Well, we'll see what happens. Well, again, I don't know a lot of people that have trust in Chuck Schumer. I'm just saying that right now. All right, let me go to a break. We'll be right back. Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network.
If in this country right now you have people get up in the morning and the only thing they can think about is how many people they can hurt, and they got the power, that's the time for mourning.
For better or worse, what makes America special, it's that legal system that's supposed to protect minorities from the tyranny of the majority.
We are at a point of a moral emergency. We must raise a voice of outrage. We must raise a voice of compassion. And we must raise a voice of unity.
We are not in a crisis of party versus party. We are in a crisis of civilization, a human rights crisis, and a crisis of democracy itself. And guess what? You've been chosen to make sure that those that would destroy, those that would hate, don't have the final say, and they don't ultimately win.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Godfrey, the funniest dude on the planet. And you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Folks, today is Veterans Day, and on this day, Alabama wants to honor its black heroes. A new bill in Congress aims to pay lasting tribute to the legendary Tuskegee Airmen, the black fighter pilots who shattered barriers and flew with courage during World War II. Alabama Congressman Shamari Figures introduced the bipartisan bill to rename the Tuskegee Post Office as the Tuskegee Airmen Memorial Post Office. With support from the entire Alabama congressional delegation, this initiative aims to permanently recognize the bravery and sacrifice of America's first black military aviators. Figures released a statement saying designating the Tuskegee Post Office as the Tuskegee Airmen Memorial Post Office is a meaningful way to honor the legacy of these trailblazing heroes, and I'm proud to do this on my first Veterans Day with the full support of Alabama's congressional delegation. Tuskegee Airmen, whom I especially honor on my first Veterans Day, not only broke barriers in our armed forces, but also inspired generations of Americans to serve with courage, integrity, and pride. This recognition ensures that their sacrifice, bravery, and historic contributions to our nation will never be forgotten. Congressman Figures calls it a fitting tribute to honor greatness and ensure the Tuskegee Airmen's legacy continues to inspire others. All right, folks, let's talk about Utah, where a Utah judge hands a big win to the state Democrats. Judge Diana Gibson rejected a Republican-passed redistricting plan that created two more competitive districts in the state. Judge Gibson's denial of the new map will create a solidly Democratic district that covers Salt Lake City, giving the party its second win in the redistricting wars that has swept the nation ahead of the midterms. In a ruling, Judge Gibson said the Republican map, quote, fails to abide by and conform with the requirements of a 2018 voter-approved ballot measure that created nonpartisan redistricting standards for the state legislature. Now, in October, Republican state legislators passed the map that the judge ultimately denied, which created two competitive districts that still favor Republicans. The case centers on a voter-approved measure against partisan gerrymandering in the state, passed in 2018, which Republicans are now collecting signatures to undo. It's amazing how often that happens, Kelly, how Republicans, they really don't like these redistricting commissions. They didn't like the one in Ohio, in Michigan. And what does it tell you that the voters approved it, and then they're like, yeah, we're going to come back and undo what you guys approved?
Don't like accountability, and that their tricks aren't as sustainable as they once were, because this is what democracy looks like. This is what accountability looks like. A judge standing up to decades-long hustle, rigging maps, silencing voters, and I feel like it is a micro example of what's happening across the country and what can happen across the country in terms of judges doing their job, fighting against this regime, and just making sure that, frankly, the law is working the way it's supposed to be working. But I do want to give credit where it's due, because this fair map came from the League of Women Voters, specifically Mormon Women for Ethical Government. And, I'm not a Mormon by any stretch, but women were able to do what politicians, Republicans wouldn't do, refuse to do, and that's fight for democracy. So kudos to them, because at the end of the day, Republicans didn't accidentally draw those maps. It was absolutely on purpose. They carved up communities with the precision of a scalpel to make sure that they stayed in power, to make sure that it stayed white and manly. And that is not fair. It's not right. And the judges saw that and overturned it as it should have been.
So we're seeing more of this, Cameron, because of the action of the Democrats. Now, what's happening here in Utah, also the move in California, stopping the folks in Kansas or whatever. It looks like Republicans are not going to come out of this with a big majority that they thought. Now we'll see what happens with this Callis decision out of Louisiana. That could also change a whole lot. But Republicans thought they were going to be able to try to pick up 10, 12, 15 seats in gerrymandering. That does not look like to be the case.
Who would have thought? Who would have thought we would be having a competitive Utah? I think this. I mean, you don't think Democrats. You don't think people playing in Utah and heavy spend in Utah. I'm excited about this, even though this does still in and around Salt Lake City. It's a wonderful city. I've been several times. I do think there is energy and opportunity there to at least make it competitive, if not win one or two of those seats, probably one. But there has to be investment. They need to find the right candidate that fits Utah, that fits the people there, that fits the sensibilities there. And the Democratic Party needs to invest in that, because at the very least they can distract and force the Republicans to play in a state in an area that they didn't expect. So I think this just makes for a more competitive nationwide race. And then it's also allows the country to understand what's really at stake with this gerrymandering and redistricting all over the country. I'm really hoping that gerrymandering becomes a word and an understanding around all voters and non-voters around the country. And I think something like this happening in Utah and picking up in a place where we just haven't, I don't think we even really think about Utah or Salt Lake City and stuff when it comes to election time. You just check it and naturally put it into the Republicans' box. I think this opens up the map around the country and changes the math.
Well, I think the thing here, Mustafa, that we have to recognize is that, those Mormons in Utah have not been happy with Donald Trump. They have really been, challenging him, calling him out. And in the data, you see his numbers are not good in that state. And so I think what Cameron said is certainly a positive for Democrats. How Utah being able to have a second congressional district there, pretty big deal.
Yeah, I have family in Salt Lake. And is interesting because they feel like, the values that are coming out of the White House are not in alignment with their values. We see all these types of egregious things that this administration does, and it just goes against the grain of many folks across our country, not just in Salt Lake, in a number of locations. And that's why you got to have a 50-state strategy. I know that has not necessarily been the way that the Democratic leadership has approached over a number of years. But, you shouldn't just let anyone slip through and not make sure that you have the resources and the focus in their areas. So that's the first thing. The other thing that we've got to make sure that we stay mindful of is that, whether you're in Salt Lake City or you're in Sacramento, California, or you're in Biloxi, Mississippi, a lot of folks are in pain right now. They see the country moving in the wrong direction. And because they see that, folks want to have fair maps. They want to make sure that when they cast their ballot, that they have the ability to actually change the dynamics that are happening inside of their communities and therefore happening inside of their families. So that's why you got to make sure you make those investments everywhere, because this is the moment when you can actually show real leadership. This is the moment when you can actually help to change people's what's going on in their lives in this moment and the future. And we'll see if the Democrats actually stand up to that, or maybe it'll be some independent folks that will. But there is an opening, and we'll see how folks proceed.
Well, listen, I keep saying this here. You can win in the courts, don't mean nothing if folks don't vote. And so over the next year, it's going to be a really, really vigorous battle in this country. All right, folks, going to a break. We come back. Barber-Scotia College, they're bouncing back after being that close to losing their accreditation. We'll talk to their president when we come back right here. Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Don't forget to support the work that we do. Join our Bring It Bunk fan club. If you want to contribute, please do so by going to use Cash App. Use the Stripe QR code. You see it right here, bottom left-hand corner. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo, RM Unfiltered. Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com. Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. We'll be right back.
Violent white supremacy is, quote, the most persistent and lethal threat in the homeland.
The greatest terrorist threat to the homeland is the homegrown violent restraint, including hate crime committed on behalf of some kind of white supremacist ideology.
They are coming after everything in Black America. MAGA and Donald Trump are specifically targeting Black America. They are going after the money. Attack Black Lives Matter. Attack critical race theory. Attack woke, DEI. MAGA wants to defund Black America. This is a perfect example of their desire to completely degrade and de-emphasize Black people.
It's your boy Earthquake, giving Roland Martin something to do, because he don't know what to do. He from Texas. Ain't his fault.
Barber-Scotia College, they were having some serious issues. This fall, though, North Carolina's oldest HBCU launched its first ever football season, marking a significant comeback for the institution. Over 115 students have returned to campus, resulting in the college's largest enrollment in nearly 20 years. After losing its accreditation, Barber-Scotia College is now gaining momentum, reintroducing football, basketball, and baseball as part of its efforts to restore accreditation and revive the legacy of its historic HBCU. Chris Ray, the president and CEO of Barber-Scotia, joins me right now. President Ray, glad to have you here. So how does restoring sports bring you back? Is that not a costly venture for Barber-Scotia?
First of all, I appreciate you for having us on tonight. And it's a part of the strategy. It was a part of the recruitment strategy that we thought was important to to get students back involved, to get students in the pipeline. As you know or may not know, that when you are trying to get back accredited, it's critical that you have students enroll. That's a part of the accreditation formula. And we realized that in order for us to position ourselves for the best possible opportunity, we needed to make sure that we had a pipeline of students that we know that would be coming into the institution. And so we thought sports would be the best way, and it's worked. We've had over 100 students who have enrolled. We've got another almost 100 in the pipeline coming in the spring and in the fall of next year. So we're really excited.
Are these folks on full scholarship, partial scholarship? How are you making this happen?
Sure. So let me first shout out the alumni of Barber-Scotia College, who has done a tremendous job of stepping up to the plate to help solidify the financial backing of the institution. And that's the only way that this was going to work, is that we needed to make sure that we had the alumni stepping up. And so what has happened is we've been able to create our own internal financial aid for our students. Our students are able, some of them they're paying out of pocket. We're able to help with partial scholarships, and many of them are getting other aid from families and friends to be able to help to cover the costs. And we've made it affordable. So to attend Barber-Scotia College now, it's $2,500 a semester, $5,000 a year, because I believe that affordable education is absolutely possible if you create the right formula for it. And so it has allowed these parents to say, you know what, I can take a chance on Barber-Scotia because it's affordable for me and my family.
That's an extremely low amount. How are you able to charge that low for tuition in this climate where we normally have skyrocketing tuition cost?
Sure. So, when I took the job as president, I had to sit back and try to reimagine what the HBCU of the future should look like. And I think what we've fallen on is thinking that we have to touch all of our students. Now, I spent 22 years in the Army. I was a signal officer, had a cybersecurity background. So IT is a big part of my professional training. And when I took the job and I spoke to the Board of Trustees, I shared with them that we have to reimagine a Barber-Scotia that cannot return the way that it left. And so we have to look at a hybrid formula where we have students who are in person. That's the traditional way. That's what we're all used to. But we also have to have a robust amount of students that are going to be online for the future. And so my goal and vision for the institution is that we'll have 2,000 to 3,000 students that will live and commute to Barber-Scotia, but we'll have 30,000 to 40,000 students that will be online. And so when you look at the formulas like a Walden University or Southern New Hampshire University, their price point is right within that $5,000 to $6,000 to $7,000 range that they're charging their students. And so gone are the days where I believe that an HBCU can survive with 1,200 students or 1,400 students. We have to look at the next generation of what HBCU should look like. And so we're charging a lower tuition, understanding and believing that if you build it right, that they will come. And we're seeing that now, from going from no students to now having over 100 plus students to having another 100 plus that's getting ready to come to the institution.
And when you say get ready to come, do you mean next fall or in the spring?
Yeah, so we have students that are already applying for the spring, and we have students that are applying for the fall of next year. So we're looking at another 100 plus students that we know will be enrolling in the institution. Probably more, but we know there'll be at least another 100 that will be coming by the fall of next year.
Questions from the panel. Kelly, you first.
First and foremost, congratulations on this feat. As a HBCU grad myself, I'm always for the preservation of HBCUs, and this is fantastic work on your end. My question to you is, as far as specialties and what Barber-Scotia will be known for as far as academics, are there any programs that you want to tout and advertise over others? Like, what will you guys be known for outside of your athletics?
Sure. So thank you for that question. So when you think about what the future of what the institution is going to be, we're looking at three streams. Number one, I want to have a robust certificates program for our institution, and we've just partnered with an organization that is going to allow us the opportunity to have an array of certificate programs on the healthcare side and on the IT side. And then you have RHC Workforce Solutions, which is our next huge partnership around our workforce development and our trade school that we're going to have, because I believe that Barber-Scotia needs to be the place where everyone gets an opportunity. And then you have your traditional degrees. We are 3 miles away from Eli Lilly. This gives you a thought, an idea of where we want to go. My long-term hope is that we'll have our own pharmacy school as an institution, because you can't be 3 miles from an Eli Lilly and there not be a pharmacy school opportunity here at Barber-Scotia College. So we're looking at the STEM programs, but we're also looking at making sure that there is a strong skills training opportunity here, trade school opportunities, and then the traditional. So our saying is you can come to Barber-Scotia where you can get skilled up, trade up, or degreed up, because you have to be a place for everybody, not just I want to get a 2-year degree, a 4-year degree, because everyone doesn't need a 4-year degree.
Cameron.
Again, also as an HBCU grad, congratulations. Love to see more increasing the number of HBCUs in these challenging times. I was really intrigued by your focus on online learning. I think that is really the future. It's the now and the future, given we are also in a hybrid work environment. People are looking for more convenience, and people are looking to maybe attend a HBCU that may not physically be close enough to campus, but still want that education. Can you expand on how you see that as an opportunity for Barber-Scotia and potentially HBCUs around the country?
Yeah, I think that that's one of the areas that we have missed the mark as HBCUs, and there's a lot of reasons why you can say we didn't have the formal investment in our IT infrastructure to be able to do this. But there are over 500,000 African Americans that are enrolled in online programs in programs outside of HBCUs. Let that sit with you. 500,000 African Americans. And so we know that there is a market of individuals who are interested in online learning. They're not going to be the traditional, I want to come, I need to sit in a classroom, I need to hear from a professor. Life been lifing, and I have an opportunity now to finish my degree because I didn't go to school earlier, or whatever the case may be. So, we as HBCUs have to have a pipeline for our online learners, our adult learners, that clearly there's a market for that. And I recognize that when I took this job, and I said, because the way that we left, we might as well come back a new way, and come back in such a way that embraces the online learning, so that we can have that as a segment that is going to be able to fuel and fund the institution, while we also still have the traditional side, those students who want to come, those students who want to be involved, those students who want to touch and feel the HBCU experience. We'll be able to provide them with that in the in-person space, but then have this huge, robust online infrastructure. And now imagine then taking very smart HBCU creatives and then being able to overlay that online experience, and I think that we can do it. There's no question in my mind that we cannot build the right infrastructure to do that, because that is the future. Because again, I'm a firm believer that if you continue to just have in-person 1,500, 1,300, 900 students, you're going to continue to have the struggles that you continue to have. And not only on the HBCU side, but you see PWIs that are small private schools that are closing all the time because they're having the same challenges and issues because they have not invested in their online infrastructure. So my goal, 2,000 to 3,000 students that will be in person and commuting and living on this campus, and we'll have another 20,000 to 30,000 that will be online, that will power the internal business infrastructure of the college, while still giving them a great HBCU experience, just that it'll be online.
Mustafa?
President Ray, as everybody said, congratulations. I love listening to anybody who's actually trying to create 21st century HBCUs, and you're definitely moving in the right direction. To be able to achieve the goals that I know that you're moving forward on, you've got to have partners and partnerships. What is that going to look like as you move down the road?
Yeah. So again, another great question. When I took the job, we were saddled with a lot of challenges as an institution. And so, I remember the talk from, some of the folks, hey, you're just another president. We've seen this before. We owed the city. We had challenges with the county. We owed the state of North Carolina. We owed the federal government. You fast forward 2 years later, we've paid off the debt to the city. We've paid off the debt to the state of North Carolina. Working with our congressional leaders right now to address our federal debt that we have. We've had some engagement. We're going to be announcing soon our resolution with the county, which we believe is going to that's moved in the right direction for Barber-Scotia College. And so now what's happening is that we're now getting phone calls from other Fortune 500, Fortune 100 companies that are saying, hey, we've been following your story. We're interested now in getting involved. We want to be a part of your rise. Our mantra is Barber-Scotia Rising. And so they want to be a part of that early piece to us moving forward. But that's how we got the workforce development piece, right? RHC Solutions said, we want to be there to be the trade school arm for you. Vision Quest is the organization that we're going to be partnering with that said, we want to be a part of making sure that we help you build a robust certificates initiative, for Barber-Scotia College. And then we've had a bunch of community organizations. I first got to shout out the D9. The D9 has truly stepped up in a huge way in helping to provide funding. And I'm not just talking about my local D9 folks, but the national D9 folks. I've had other HBCUs who've written checks to Barber-Scotia College to help support what we were doing. But then we've had local businesses that have said, you know what, you need your dorms clean. We're going to clean your dorms for you. We're going to help you with your electrical work. And it's really just been amazing to watch the community come together to say, you know what, we're not going to allow another HBCU to close on our watch. But I think that the reason why they got behind us is because they see that we have a plan, and they can now get behind that plan and be a part of what is going to be something super special here in the Concord area.
All right, then. Well, President Ray, we're certainly congratulations on that, and we'll see how things unfold over the next few years.
Thank you so very much. Thank you for the opportunity, and thank you for telling our story.
All right. We appreciate it. Thank you so very much. All right, folks, got to go to a break. We come back, more to talk about. Also, man, the weather was crazy today here in Bermuda. Winds up to 55 miles an hour. Wait till I show y'all some of the video of us out there playing golf today. Today was the amateur tournament. Tomorrow's the pro-am. The PGA Tour stop starts on Thursday. And so, but still had a ball out there. You're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered right here on the Black Star Network.
They said the quiet part out loud. Black votes are a threat, so they erased them. After the Supreme Court gutted the Voting Rights Act in 2013, Republican legislatures moved fast. New voter ID laws, polling place shutdowns, purges of black voters from the rolls. Trump's Justice Department didn't stop it, they joined in. In 2018, his DOJ backed Ohio's voter purge system, a scheme that disproportionately erased black voters. Their goal, erase black votes and political power. Yeah, that happened. These are the kinds of stories that we cover every day on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Subscribe on YouTube and download the Black Star Network app. Support fact-based independent journalism that centers African Americans and the issues that matter to our community.
Me, Sherry Shepard, and you know what you're watching, Roland Martin Unfiltered.
All All right, folks, these MAGA people are absolutely insane, doing all they can, of course, try to erase us. Let's go to my alma mater, Texas A&M University, where the Texas A&M University system regents are going to vote later this week on a proposal to ban classes on race and gender ideology unless these courses receive approval from the institution's president or a designated representative. This is the latest step in the conservative effort to eliminate what they perceive as liberal-leaning teaching from Texas universities. If passed, Texas A&M system, which serves 175,000 students and is the second largest university system in the state, will become the first institution to explicitly prohibit teaching related to race ideology. It'll be the first institution to bar teaching to race ideology explicitly. According to these white folks, race ideology is defined as a concept that seeks to shame a particular race or ethnicity, accusing them of being oppressors in a racial hierarchical conspiracy, assigning them less value as contributors to society, imposing intrinsic guilt, or promote activism instead of instruction. Okay, so here's what's really at play here, Mustafa. And people need to understand something right here. So in Texas, these white MAGA folk, they believe that the University of Texas is just foregone being a liberal institution. So what they decided to say, hey, Texas A&M is going to become their playground. It's going to become the conservative institution of the state. That's really what's going on here. And you've got these border regents who are doing the bidding of that crazy, nonsensical Governor Greg Abbott, who announced he's running for re-election. And this is the reason why I really hope people get out and vote in serious ways. Abbott should be defeated. And these border regents need to stop sitting here being some scared punks, including the ones at Texas A&M. And it goes to show you how idiotic these people are. Texas A&M has significant issues when it comes to attracting black and other minority students. And this ain't going to help, but it goes to show you what MAGA is doing in America.
Yeah, well, for some reason they're afraid of truth, right? Because when you look at these classes, it's all it is really history. Folks just laying it out for folks about what has transpired in the past, who was impacted, how has it limited opportunities, and instances also about bringing forward, the excellence that exists in the black community and the brown community and other communities, and folks end up fearing that. So if you want to make sure that you're protecting truth, if you want to make sure that you're protecting history, then of course we have to get engaged and we have to vote, but we also got to hold people accountable. And we talk about that on the show all the time. So whether it's the Board of Regents or other individuals who are making choices in that space, then we've got to make sure that they understand what the set of expectations are. And if you don't do that, then folks will feel, one, if they want to do the right thing, that they're out there by themselves. Two, if they don't want to do the right thing, that there won't be any repercussions.
Cameron?
I think Texas A&M is in a unique and interesting place now. Texas A&M also, with this going on, this is also juxtaposition that they are in a major $100+ million investment in their football and in their sports system as another way to hopefully draw students, and I think draw a lot of black students from both in-state and out of state. And it's interesting to how they plan to look to erase our history.
That ain't working. That ain't working. That ain't never worked. I'm letting you know that ain't never worked. So. No, it hasn't. I mean, bottom line is, it hasn't. And A&M has look. You got a whole bunch of us, black people who graduated from A&M. Our kids grew up the Aggie way and ain't going to the university. So it ain't working. But again, they love DEI Saturdays though. They love seeing black talent on that football field.
But they won't teach our history in the classroom. And that was the point I was making, is that they want to continue to put all this money and hopefully turn themselves into a larger football powerhouse in this interesting NIL world we're in. And they're looking to do that on the back of black talent across their sports. But then when those same students need to go into the classroom and may want to deal with African-American studies, may want to learn something more than a whitewashed history of our people, they won't be able to find it in those history books. So it's discouraging. I'm hoping this is just another rallying cry to get a lot of people, not just the folks who are voting around the state, to really look at look at Governor Abbott and look at who's their representatives. But also, hopefully, this is another piece and something on the board that gets people who are on the couch in Texas, because I think this all feeds into a system, and Texas has been so egregious in so many different ways that they're looking to utilize their power to erase our history. And quite frankly, we just can't stand for it.
Hey, Kelly, it's simple. What you're seeing is the attacks on black folks and others all across this country. It's happening at the federal level, state level, it's going to the local level. And I keep telling people, the way you shut these people up is you throw them out of office. Texas has the most eligible black voters in the country. When Beto O'Rourke ran against Greg Abbott, 75% of young people 30 and under did not vote. There's a way to defeat them, and that's the ballot box. Because the governor in Texas appoints the University Board of Regents. You get a new governor, you get new regents.
I mean, as far as I'm concerned, this is McCarthyism with a Texas accent, and I'm not about to mimic a Texas accent because that's not my style, but that's what it looks like to me. Because when a state bans classes based on race and gender, that's not policy, that's not in the best interest of the student. That's political violence against black and brown people. That's political violence against queer and women scholars, right? This isn't about classrooms. It's about control. It's not ideology. You're talking about black studies. So when you're talking about these things and in these veiled attempts to, basically pull the wool over people's eyes, like, this is about black and brown people and you wanting to control the narrative of y'all being ain't shit. Y'all don't want the world to know that y'all ain't shit. That's really all it boils down to. So you can ban the course, but you can't ban reality when it comes to these things. And to your point about the vote, I mean, that goes across the board, not just in Texas. We have to vote. We have to use the political power that we have while we still have it to get this type of ideology out of main discourse. We have to use what we have to push what we want. And what we want is diversity. What we want is inclusivity. What we want is equity. That's what DEI stands for. And we need to start saying it just like that. So for people who say they're anti-DEI, so you're anti-diversity. That's what I'm hearing. You're anti-inclusivity. That's what I'm hearing. Not you're anti an acronym that you don't want to spell out, because then we're actually calling you out on your shit.
Well, we'll see what they do. And I'm just letting them folks know right now, you ain't doing yourself no favor with black folks when it comes to the future of Texas A&M. But again, they want A&M to be the most conservative, whitest university in the state. That's their goal. That's their strategy. But again, they sure don't mind they black ball players. And that Dr. Greg Carr always says, if black ball players decide to say, you know what, we're not going to reward these universities like Texas A&M who don't give a shit about black people, trust me, they don't go to those universities. They ain't got no sports programs. All right, I'll be right back. Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network.
If in this country right now, you have people get up in the morning and the only thing they can think about is how many people they can hurt, and they got the power, that's the time for mourning.
For better or worse, what makes America special, it's that legal system that's supposed to protect minorities from the tyranny of the majority.
We are at a point of a moral emergency. We must raise a voice of outrage. We must raise a voice of compassion. And we must raise a voice of unity.
We are not in a crisis of party versus party. We are in a crisis of civilization, a human rights crisis, and a crisis of democracy itself. And guess what? You've been chosen to make sure that those that would destroy, those that would hate, don't have the final say, and they don't ultimately win.
This week on The Other Side of Change.
Book bans, anti-intellectualism, and Trump's continued war on wisdom.
This is a coordinated backlash to progress. At the end of the day, conservatives realized that they couldn't win a debate on facts. They started using our language against us, right? Remember when we were all woke and the woke movement and all that kind of stuff? Now everything is anti-woke, right? When we were talking about including diversity, equity, inclusion, and higher education, now it's anti-DEI. All this are efforts to suppress the truth because truth empowers people.
You're watching The Other Side of Change only on the Black Star Network.
Next on the Black Table with me, Greg Carr. The United States is the most dangerous place for a woman to give birth among all industrialized nations on the planet. Think about that for a second. That's not all. Black women are 3 times more likely to die in this country during childbirth than white women.
These healthcare systems are inherently racist. There are a lot of white supremacist ideas and mythologies around black women, black women's bodies, even black people that we experience painless, right?
Activist, organizer, and fearless freedom fighter Monifa Akinwole-Bandele from Moms Rising joins us and tells us this shocking phenomenon, like so much else, is rooted in unadulterated racism. And that's just one of her fights. Monifa Bandele on the next Black Table here on the Black Star Network.
Hi, I'm Jo Marie Payton, voice of Sugar Mama on Disney's Louder and Prouder Disney Plus, and I'm with Roland Martin on Unfiltered.
Folks, 3-time NBA Hall of Famer Lenny Wilkens has died. Wilkens was one of the finest point guards of his era who later brought his calm and savage style to the sideline, first as a player coach and then evolving into one of the game's great coaches. Keep in mind, y'all, he was a player coach for several seasons. He coached 2,487 games in the NBA, a record that still stands. He became a Hall of Famer as both a player and a coach, and again as an assistant coach the 1992 U.S. Olympics team. Wilkens also coached the Americans to gold the Atlanta Games in 1996. Wilkens was a 9-time All-Star as a player, the first person to reach 1,000 wins as an NBA coach, the second person inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame as both a player and a coach. Only 5 people have ever done that. He coached the Seattle Supersonics to an NBA title in 1979. Wilkens, the 1994 NBA Coach of the Year with the Atlanta Hawks, retired with 1,332 wins, 1,332 coaching wins, a league record that Don Nelson and Greg Popovich later surpassed. Wilkens played 15 seasons with the St. Louis Hawks, Seattle Supersonics, Cleveland Cavaliers, and Portland Trail Blazers. An All-Star 5 times with St. Louis, 3 times in Seattle, and once with Cleveland in 1973. The age of 35. A statue depicting his time with the Supersonics was installed outside Climate Pledge Arena in June. Lenny attended that unveiling. This is what he said.
Thank you very much. Reminds me when I first came out here. You know, we're a better community when we're supportive of one another, when we help each other, when we take time to recognize one another. And early in my career, one of the things I did a lot was I used to read a lot. I read books all the time. And I read some great books. history of the USA from 1937 to 1970 something. I read a book I got a buddy of mine to read called Hunter Yo. It was about the culture of the Native American. And I was so fascinated with it. It was unbelievable. I've been blessed. I'll be the first to tell you. I have a great wife, a great family. They're very supportive of everything I do. And that has allowed me to do so much. To be able to go everywhere and speak to everybody. Young people, I tell you, you're important. You mean something. So, the young people are tomorrow's doctors, lawyers, politicians. They're our future. And when we're supportive of each other, we make our community better. So, I just want to say, hey, thank you. Thank you so much. You don't know what you mean to me, but thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Lenny Wilkens was 88 years old. That's a good alpha man right there. Also, folks, the NBA is mourning the passing of former All-Star guard Michael Ray Richardson. He played 8 years in the NBA, was an unbelievable player, number 4 pick in the 1978 draft of the New York Knicks, 3-time All-Star with them, also with the New Jersey Nets. Led the league in steal 3 times, was a phenomenal scorer. His career was literally cut short because of drugs. He was just an unbelievable player. Upon his passing, the NBA said this on their Twitter feed. The NBA mourns the passing of 4-time All-Star Michael Ray Richardson. Michael dedicated his post-NBA career to using his life story to teach life skills to young people. We extend our heartfelt sympathies to his family, friends, and fans. All right, y'all. I'm here in Bermuda, and we've been got here yesterday, and going to be here all week. And they have the PGA tournament that's playing here this week. Lots of different things that have been happening here. It's the Butterfield Bermuda Championship, of course. The Tourism Authority, they're the ones who are sponsors of this. And so we had an amateur tournament today at the Mid-Ocean Club, and boy, oh boy. So this morning when I woke up, man, it was raining, wind gust, and I was like, okay, this is going to be an interesting day. Yeah, when we started, the sun came out. Then we didn't see it again for the rest of the day. If y'all want to see what it looks like playing golf in crazy wind and rain, well, check this out. It ain't going to die down. Really is crazy. So I probably have not played. Where are we going? I probably have not played in these conditions in a really long time. Like I say, the rain is not that big of a deal. Rain's not that big a deal. I mean, I've played in rain before, but it's been a long time since I played where the wind was howling this much. This is crazy, y'all. Crazy. Okay. go. Well, the wind's died down. Like I said, we can play in this rain. 50-mile-an-hour gusting wind is a whole different conversation. So, now let's see. Let's see what happens. You hit it, bro.
That's good. That's a great line.
Don't make it happen.
Good speed. Good break.
That's far. Far.
Yeah, good
Nice.
goal. Lovely draw.
Uphill.
Nice try.
Alright, so here's the deal. I had a great drive. I'm 164 yards out. We're talking about getting dead into the wind. It has to be at least minimum a 4-club wind. So that means if it's a 161-yard shot, you play it like it's 201. That's how crazy this is. So I'm going to hit my 4 hybrids with my 195 club. Let's go hit that club. Just tell you how crazy this wind is. All right, let's see what happens. That's not a breeze. Look at that. Ball. That hill. Indeed, if you can. Right back to the bunker. Wow, that's crazy. That's crazy. I should have thought his ball was going to be over. All right. I got to get out of this bunker. You see the flag. I'm hitting a 60-degree lob wedge.
Oh, crap.
Wind is picked up. It's no joke. Not joking at all. Some palm trees. Right into it. Woo! All right. Let's get out here. Over here. All right, y'all. It's a $250 vintage blue shaft. All right, Golf Care Center, Bethesda. Might as well order that shaft. I'll be home Saturday. Shot. All right, y'all. This is our last hole. It has been a wild day. I just checked the screen in there. Plus are 55 miles an hour. 55 miles an hour. So, suffice to say, it's been a tough golf day, but it's not gorgeous. You know, from golf club. All right, let's go close this thing out. wind is no joke. Man. At 248 on the second shot. Felt like we were in a boxing match, and of course, and the win won. So that's the end of this amateur. We played the pro-am on Wednesday. Man, I want to go thaw out, try out, and soak in a hot shower. This was a test of endurance. But hey, we love golf. So did it feel like a heavyweight fight out there?
I mean, if this is how I leave a heavyweight fight, you know who won.
You came in here and comb your hair. I saw when you walked in here.
Look, I look good. Do I not look nice?
You trudged in here.
Do I not look nice?
Now.
That's right. Don't let him see you struggle.
Yeah, that was golf enthusiast Nikki Blaze. She know damn well we playing out there. It was crazy. I'm sitting there reading these comments in the chat, and they're like, "Oh hell no!" But listen, Mustafa, I don't care what it says. If I got a choice between sitting inside and playing outside in the rain and 55-mile-an-hour wind, I'm gonna pick the latter.
Yeah, you're a wild boy. That's all I could say, because that was intense. Let me put my science hat on for a second. So you understand that tropical storm winds start at 39 miles an hour and go up to about 73 miles an hour. So I
know.
That's wild. I was thinking about you might be at Caddyshack 3 or something like that, because some of that stuff was wild. I think what people probably want to know is, what did you shoot for the day?
Well, actually, so the tournament, we weren't keeping individual scores. So the tournament was 4 players, and whoever had the best score on that hole, that was the team score on that hole. And so I know I had at least 5. I had 5 pars. Our group didn't make a birdie all day, but man, it was like so that first hole when that rain really came in. Oh man, that was a par 4. I think I had a 9. When that rain, that was like the hardest rain, the most wind. Yo, that was crazy. But I mean, look, that's the game. Let's see, Kelly. Would we see you out there playing a 55-mile-an-hour wind?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. No.
Why?
Because I saw that footage and I was like, that was my cue to take a nap. Like, you see me outside. Not at all. Like, for me, and it's funny because as a kid, I did take golfing lessons and stuff. So it's not that I don't appreciate the game of golf. I'm just of the mindset that when I hear winds blowing, clouds graying, rain coming down in sheets, it's time to go to bed. It's time to go to bed. That is soup weather. That is weighted blanket with my basic chick pumpkin spice latte weather. That's not, let me test the elements like I'm Aurora, Storm from X-Men. Like, no, absolutely not. But kudos to you.
Cameron, it wasn't that bad.
Man, it's the win though. And Roland, we gotta hit the green. I'm an avid golfer. I don't get to get out there much, but you way more committed than me because
Hold on. Stop right there. Stop. You just said I'm an avid golfer. I don't get out there as much, and you way more committed to me. That means you are not an avid golfer.
I'm a fair weather golfer. That's what we'll say. I'm a fair weather golfer.
There we go. You are a fair weather inconsistent golfer.
Yeah, fair weather inconsistent. I'll take that. I'll hit the range, but I've done the range several times. It's the winds. I'm not good enough to overcome the wind. And so kudos to you.
That means you ain't no avid golfer.
But we gotta go.
Don't use that phrase again.
We gotta get out there.
Cameron, you need to go. You need to go to that range a little bit more.
Out there in the wind and rain.
No, we're gonna wait till the spring.
Listen,
we're gonna wait till the spring.
Roland's gonna wait for
rain. Listen,
then invite you.
Listen, I have played in rain, harder rain than that. Wind. I played in Ireland. It was snowing. So I'm just saying. Cold. Huh?
How do you see the ball in the snow?
Easy.
It's a white ball.
Easy. You hit a colored ball.
Yellow.
Learn me something new.
Orange.
Yeah, yellow, green, orange, red. You just hit a colored ball. That's all you got to do.
And
see,
this is why I take apps.
Oh no, that's boring. That's boring. What's a better story? Yo, I'm in Bermuda. The wind was gusting 55 miles an hour. It was in the rain. We played 18 as opposed to, I was in Bermuda and the wind was blowing out. I took a nap. That's a boring story. Okay, gotta go to a break. Come back, Marketplace, right here, Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network.
This week on A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie, we're continuing our series of putting in the work, A Chef's Journey. Are you an aspiring chef? Someone who already has a business, trying to figure out what your next steps will be, who to talk to, and how to get there? Well, on this week's show, our great guests and wonderful chefs will talk to you about what it means to discover your purpose, your why of being in the kitchen, and then knowing how to put a business together.
The menu controls everything. The menu determines everything. But the business plan is where you have to go back to.
When you get into the business, at the end of the day, social media and TV, all of that stuff is cool, but you still have to run a business. You still have to be in relationship with people.
That's all next on A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie here on Black Star Network.
This is Reggie Rock Byford. You're watching
Roland Martin, unfiltered, uncut, unplugged, and undamn believable. You hear me?
folks, you're looking for that perfect fragrance. Well, we have it for you. Dojo fragrances are handcrafted in Los Angeles, inspired by the founder, Antoine Jones's grandmother, Doris Jones. Antoine birthed the company during the pandemic. He joins us now from L.A. All right, Antoine, glad to have you here. So when you say that it was inspired by, it was actually you birthed the company during the pandemic, but it was inspired by your grandmother. Explain.
Yeah. So when I was 19, I was a doorman in New York, and I took a fragrance making class from a lady in the building. And I was making fragrances and making candles for about 10 years. And I promised myself that if I ever had the time, I'd create a fragrance company. And then COVID came, and I had nothing but time. So Dojo is a promise that I kept to myself. And when I was looking for a name, my grandmother passed away when I was 12, and I wanted to honor her. And that's why the company's called Dojo. And her name was Doris Jones.
So, okay, what's a fragrance class? Like, what is that?
Yeah, so it was basically the lady in the building. She just kind of had a bunch of neighbors come together, and she kind of taught people how to mix fragrances. It was like a small rudimentary class, just kind of introduce you, get you used to mixing different fragrances and things like that.
Okay, and so you took that class, and then how long was it before going from that class to actually launching your own company?
About 10 years. Yeah, so after the class, I just, experiment with candles, fragrances, and just different things, but I never really had the time to start the company, or I never had the funds. And, with COVID, it kind of gave me a break, so that I can start the company.
Gotcha. And so when you're creating a fragrance, what are you looking for? What smell? I mean, is with some too strong, some too soft? What are you actually looking for?
Yeah. So with my fragrances, I work with a really good fragrance maker. And so we work together, and we just kind of play around with things. Sometimes we get inspired by things that are already out there. So one of the fragrances that you actually have is very rich, which is inspired by Baccarat Rouge. So I get inspired by things that are already out there.
So so you get inspired by these different things that are out there. Yes. And so your fragrances, are they for men and women, or only for women?
Yeah, everything is unisex. Everything is unisex.
Okay, so now explain that, because there are some fragrances and perfumes that are targeted to men, others targeted to women. And so how did you come up with this frankly neutral, if you will, that can be used and worn?
Yeah, so I just chose scents that men and women would feel comfortable using. So that's kind of what I wanted to make sure when I had all my fragrances.
Okay. All right. Questions from the panel. Let's see. Who probably wears the most cologne or perfume? It's probably going to be Cameron.
Here we go, bro. Here we go. I mean, I do wear good cologne. I like to smell good. Congratulations on. Well, I don't know why that's funny. I don't know why that's funny. Why can't a brother smell good? What's going on here? Please excuse the panel and our host. Congratulations on your business, sir.
Hey, Kelly the one losing it. That ain't me.
No, all jokes aside.
Come on, Cameron. What's your question?
No, my question is, if you're trying to make sure you make a statement in the room, but you don't want to be overbearing, which one of the fragrances would you suggest?
I would suggest Antoine 33. This is what the packaging looks like here. This has rose, cloves, cinnamon, blackcurrant, patchouli, a little bit of anise. And it's a great evening and daytime scent.
I'm going to pick some of that up.
Yes, please do. You'll enjoy it. And I actually came out on my birthday.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Say it again.
Yeah, I said I came out with this particular scent called Antoine 33. I came out with it on my birthday.
Okay. All right, cool. Kelly?
So when it comes to, similar to Roland's question, but I want to be more specific on the types, like the elements of your scents. So I know, a lot of people use, I think it's pronounced oud, O-U-D, rose, lavender. So what are your favorite combinations of scents? Like as far as like your base, like when you create something, what do you typically start with?
So again, I get inspired by scents that are already out there. So one of the scents that Roland has in the studio is called Her Scent, which is inspired by Delina, which is Parfum de Marly, and that's vanilla. It has rose, has a little bit of lychee, some bergamot. That's a really fresh, great unisex scent. And then I also have a sandalwood and cedar and leather and violet and musk if you want like a deeper, more woody smell. Yeah, I have a wide variety of scents. I have things for everyone.
Okay.
All right, Mustafa.
Yeah, well, Antoine, congratulations, on your success so far. Could you talk a little bit about, because you started during COVID, can you talk a little bit about what your greatest challenge has been, and then what has been your greatest success for your business?
Well, COVID really gave me the time. So before COVID, I never had the time or the money, but with COVID, we had nothing but time, so I really utilized that time, testing different fragrances and different scents, sending things to my friends and family, kind of seeing what they liked. And what was the second part of the question?
What was about challenges and success?
Oh, challenges. Well, this year in particular has been a little bit challenging, with everything going on. So things have definitely slowed down a little bit. But, it's definitely learning to pivot, learning, to kind of add new lines, add new fragrances, add new scents. And so, yeah.
Thank you.
All right, then. Well, listen, folks, go to shopblackstarnetwork.com, shopblackstarnetwork.com. To check out the fragrances dojo. Again, go to shopblackstarnetwork.com. There are multiple products there. So go to the website and check it out there. Antoine, man, we appreciate it, man. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you having me.
All right. Thank you so very much. Folks, that is it for us. Let me thank my panel. Let me thank Mustafa. Let me thank smooth-smelling Cameron. And let me thank Kelly as well. Thank you so very much, folks. That's it for me. I appreciate it. Tomorrow we got the pro-am here at the Butterfield Bermuda Championship. We're going to be partnering with different pro players, and so looking forward to that. And again, I'll be sharing some other stories, talking to some folks here about this tournament, what Bermuda, what their goal is by sponsoring this. And of course, this is also their golf season. Very interesting. They say their golf season is September to May. I was talking to one of the guys. He said it was too hot. I'm like, too hot? Man, please. And he said, shoot, I'll give me the heat any day of the week. But again, so look forward to that. So lots more to share from here. Don't forget, folks, if you want to support the work that we do, join our Bring the Funk fan club. Your dollars make it possible as to cover stores all across the country. We got some amazing things planned. We're working on 3 new shows, y'all. There's a lot of stuff that's going on. We cannot wait to make it happen. To support us via Cash App, use the Stripe QR code. You see it right here, bottom left-hand corner. You can also use that Stripe QR code for credit cards as well. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered, Venmo RM Unfiltered, Zelle Roland at RolandSMartin.com, Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Checks in money order, make it payable to Roland Martin Unfiltered, P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 2003-7-0196. Download the Black Star Network app, Apple phone, Android phone, Apple TV, Android TV, Roku, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Xbox One, Samsung Smart TV. If you want to get our Roland Martin Unfiltered swag, go to shopblackstarnetwork.com. You see it right there. Hats, T-shirts, mugs, you name it, all that good stuff. If you also want to support the black-owned companies we partner with, go to shopblackstarnetwork.com. Go to our marketplace segment. As I said, Dojo fragrances, as well as the other products that are on the website. You see all those products that are there on my desk? Crossword puzzles, backpacks, skin cream, facial stuff, relishes, sauces, you name it, all that stuff going to, of course, shopblackstarnetwork.com. And don't forget, download the app Fanbase. Get the app Fanbase if you want to be a part of the Raise. Go to startengine.com/fanbase. More information. Startengine.com/fanbase. That's it. I'll see y'all tomorrow right here, Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Holla!